This opening shot here is a Los Angeles country club, and we were over in California. Grammy and Grandpa Kavanaugh, Grammy Peg's dad, played in a tournament there. So that's the clubhouse. And going from right to left, that's Grammy Peg, her father, Bert Kavanaugh, Grammy Mary Kavanaugh, me, and then Murphy's great-grandmother, then Bill Murphy would have been the Murphy kids, their grandfather, and then Kay was next to me. I'm guessing she was about 6, 5. And then there's my dad, Frank Knoell, Eileen, and then Mary Kavanaugh, Grammy Kavanaugh, and Bert Kavanaugh. He was always a jokester. And there again is the Murphys. That's Bill Murphy's mother, which would be all the Murphy kids' great-grandmother. Again, Bill is holding his mother. And that's Bert Kavanaugh, and then my dad, Frank Knoell. Senior, that is. Just a panorama shot of the golf course. It was really pretty, I remember. And I remember riding, I think, in a golf cart. Dad played there, too, with Grandpa Kavanaugh, and I forget who else. But here we are at the beach. I think it's either Hermosa or I think it's Hermosa Beach. John Kavanaugh, Grammy Peg's brother, lived just a couple blocks from the boardwalk there. And that's Eileen and my mother. And there's Kay running up. Got these little surfboards. They were styrofoam. Never forget. That's me. And first time at the ocean, if I remember right. That's Eileen and I. And this was in the summertime. My guess is July, something like that. Trying to catch a wave. The waves weren't very big. Also, Johnny, Grammy Peg's brother, his wife Ruth, and their 2 children, which I can't remember if they're in this movie or not. I think one of them, Jenny, is in the movie. There's Uncle Johnny. That's Mom's brother, John Kavanaugh. Very athletic, great guy. He taught me how to body surf, so to speak. And you'll see him coming up here. Oh, that's Jenny Kavanaugh right there with the board. And that's me. And then that's Jenny. There's Uncle John. And for some reason, back then they'd stick one foot up. Why, I'm not sure. Maybe to get the center of gravity more forward, I'm not sure. There's KK. There she is again. I don't think she was 5. Maybe. There's Jenny Kavanaugh and Eileen. Jenny was the younger of the 2. There's Uncle John and I catching a wave. I got it part way. For some reason, I was disappointed or something. But there he goes. That was the helicopter of the day. I think that, right? Not sure. Yeah, there's Kay. That's Eileen. There's Uncle Johnny again. And there's Grammy Peg. How about that? And there's my dad. Like he was chewing gum. I didn't see him chew gum very often. And this, I'm not sure. Oh, okay, now we switch over. This is in the parking lot at St. Thomas the Apostle Parish for Grammy and Grandpa Knoell's 50th wedding anniversary. And there's Grammy Knoell with the white hat and the cane. I don't know who that is helping her. And there are the 2 of them. That's Frank Sr. and Mary Knoell. There's the original Frank and Mary Knoell. This was their 50th wedding anniversary, and I think it was 1957. And that car apparently was same year make as their marriage. So the plan was to leave, and here, this is eastbound on Camelback Road. That's probably around 36th Street, believe it or not. Eastbound, we're looking west. And you'll see we'll come up to a intersection that'll be 44th and Camelback. This is close to 44th and Camelback now, the citrus on both sides. And I think Arcadia Villa there. Okay, that's the southwest corner. We're looking at the Standard Station, 44th Street and Camelback. So here, heading north, that's the turn at McDonald, 44th and McDonald, believe it or not. Looking west, we're traveling eastbound. We're going on our way to Paradise Valley Country Club, and the McDonald was just up and down, up and down. All the roads out there were, and that's Paradise Valley. This is Tatum, believe it or not. We're looking south of Camelback Mountain, and this is, I would say, south of Indian Bend Road, which probably didn't exist then, but approaching the Paradise Valley Country Club entrance. Yeah, here we go. And that's turning off at Tatum. That's Tatum Boulevard, believe it or not. Turning off. And our old house would have been over the hill. Okay, that's Uncle Hugh Cannell with Grammy Cannell in the front. That's Tom Hughes. That's Tim Hughes' father. And on the left is Grammy Kavanaugh's father and her brother on the right. And the person on the right there is, I think, Grammy Kavanaugh's aunt's husband. So that's Grammy Kavanaugh's. Okay, there on the left is Virginia Hughes, Tim Hughes' mother, and the lady on the right was Mrs. Palmer. There's our Frank Sr., and then in the background is Hugh and Margot Cannell. That's Grandpa Cannell. That cane was a mahogany. He made a pair of those, one for Grammy Cannell and one for himself. He made everything. So this is on the deck at Paradise Valley Country Club. The swimming pool would have been to the right. There's the club. That's Uncle Hugh. And then there's Margot. That's Joe and Chris and Hugh Jr., Kenny. Everybody, their mother, Margot. And that's looking east. And there, again, is Grandpa Frank Cannell Sr. And there's our mother, Peggy, and her uncle, Claude. Okay, this is leaving Paradise Valley Country Club. Grandpa Cannell on the left and Grammy Mary in the middle. And I think that's Virginia Hughes on the left. And then Mary Kavanaugh's brother-in-law, uncle. And on the right here is, Mrs. Palmer. And then Grammy Peg. There's Eileen. There's the baby pool in the back. This is looking south-southeast. Eileen again. Check those fancy chairs out, you guys. That's Grandpa Foster, Mary Kavanaugh's father. He was a jokester too. There's Grammy Peg. There's Grandpa Foster again on the right. He's just making this all up. Just a jokester. Movies were new then for us. And there's Grammy Kavanaugh in the middle. Okay, this is Kay, and then our cousin Peggy O'Shaughnessy, Snooky's daughter. This is the house at Central in Missouri, northeast corner in the backyard. Okay, same thing, but this obviously Sunday morning just before going to Mass at St. Francis. See that big old cast iron pot in the back? Well, that's me, all dressed up. This is, again, the house at Central Missouri. Dad always had his face right into the sun. I couldn't see. There's KK. And there's our Plymouth station wagon. So that's Grammy, Mom on the left. And then the girl in the front, I think her name was Kathy. She was a student at Xavier, and I don't understand or remember the reason, but she stayed in the little guest room out off the garage. Now, this was a picnic on Sunday. We did this a lot. We'd go out north. That's probably just north of Bell Road off of Scottsdale Road. We'd find a big wash. We'd take the old Willys Jeep, 1946 Willys Jeep, take the seat out of the back. That's what Grammy and Aline are sitting on. And then Dad would throw a big chair from the back porch. There's that girl. I think her name was Kathy, but she was a student at Xavier that lived with us. I think for about a year. Well, you can. So there's our dog Queenie. That's Kay and I. And that's the little barbecue that Dad would take out, and also Peggy O'Shaughnessy. That white chair in the background was Dad's favorite chair in the backyard at home. Obviously no sound with these movies. These were 8mm, not even Super 8, so they were little smaller frames. There's Dad sitting in the chair, relaxing, having a good time. Always loved to go outdoors, be at the lake or somewhere. I think that thing's going to get overloaded. Yeah, there it goes. So in 1957, Dad would have been 37 and Mom 35. Famous hatchet. Dad always had a. Tell it's a roofing hatchet because it has a hammerhead on the backside. Check those old steel folding chairs. little bit of travel time on those. Eileen cooking hamburgers. Okay, this was at the house at Central Missouri again. And I don't recall the occasion. I'm wearing my uniform from St. Francis School. I think this might have been Kay's birthday, she said. And apparently that doll was at Grammy Knoell's house in the guest room. I don't recall it there, but anyway, that's what Kay was saying. There's Eileen in her uniform for St. Francis. There's Mom, Eileen. That again was Peggy O'Shaughnessy. This was in the living room at 5501 North Central was our address. That's the fireplace where we took Mom and Dad's cigarettes some years, or not too far from there. Threw all these cartons of cigarettes in that fireplace. Burned them up. They weren't too happy with us. It was a big doll. This was a den, and behind me is the gun case. And it was glass panels, one slide behind the other, and then below is where were locked doors where Dad had all of his, all the ammo, and the guns were behind the glass up there. I spent hours in this rocking chair. Just like that. That was a great chair. It was on carpet, but it was a kind of a spring-loaded. There's Kay, she has some kind of craft again. She loved craft and art from young years. This is probably a continuation of her birthday gifts. I remember that white ship. I think it was Queen Mary or something. I remember building that. I was always making models. See the tennis shoes, the high tops that I'm wearing? So this is just the end with some still shots taken from the video. Amazing Camelback Road. And there, that yellow that billboard in the background there, that's at the turn of 44th Street and McDonald. The billboard, believe it or not. There's the clubhouse behind in the back. Again, more stills. That was a Sunday. That's how we dressed to go to church. Sunday best. Anyway, hope you enjoy this and can understand and follow my voiceover here. It was great looking at this again, seeing it. And that's it. Film is over.